What is going on, guys? Welcome to my new Lightroom tutorial. This is a series of videos that I have put together where I talk about what Lightroom is, how you can use it, and how it will help improve your photo editing game. This video is number one in a series of probably 7 or 8 videos where I talk about how to use Lightroom and how it will make you just that much better at editing your photos. Now, I can hear it right now, Ryan, there's tons of videos out there about how to use Lightroom. Well, that's true, and you know what? That's how I learned how to use Lightroom, was spending hours and hours and hours on the computer, watching videos on YouTube and other sources, and just learning from other folks. But I have noticed, and I could be wrong about this, but I have noticed that some of the content out there is dated. People haven't gone back and updated their tutorials, and Adobe has done a lot of changes to Lightroom over the past few years. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to make a new series of videos and show some of the different ways that you can use Lightroom. Now, again, as I said, in this first tutorial, I am going to just do a quick and dirty rundown of all of the tabs and settings that you see when you first start Lightroom up. Now, before we get into that really quickly, I just want to talk about what Lightroom is. Lightroom is a photo editing and collection software that was developed, it's been on the market for as long as I've been shooting, and probably longer than that. It was developed as an offshoot of Photoshop. I don't remember who it was, but a guy developed Lightroom as a way to quickly categorize and edit his photos. Since then, Adobe has taken Lightroom and made it probably the most universally known and used photo editing software on the market ever. So for the purposes of this video tutorial, I will be using Lightroom Classic. And for you guys who are wondering, well, what does Classic mean, let me just explain really quickly. A few years ago, Adobe decided to make this really, in my opinion, odd decision to split Lightroom into 2 different products. You have what they call Lightroom CC, which is their cloud-based photo editing software that is it's much simpler than Lightroom, than the classic Lightroom, and it's again cloud-based. You can go online to use it, or you can download the software onto your computer. You're going to need to use Windows. You're going to need to have Windows 10. So for those of you who are on Windows 7, you're out of luck. That was me for a long time. Now, I haven't used Lightroom CC really all that much. I played around with the web-based software when it first came out, but honestly, it wasn't super. It was bare bones, and their mindset, Adobe's mindset, was that they wanted it to be for the quick post to social media. So just doing some quick down and dirty edits, no real finessing. So that was the whole point of Lightroom CC. So it wasn't something that photographers like me were going to really use, those of us that want to put a lot of effort into editing our photos. So luckily, Adobe left the old Lightroom software behind, and they still support it, and they keep updating it, and they've renamed it Lightroom Classic. So mindset there, it's the classic software. It's the classic desktop editing software. So I know you'll hear out there that Lightroom has a couple of quirks, and I want to just address those really quickly. One, there are times where it can run very slow. That really just depends on on your hard drive, on the speed of your computer. So if you have one that's only like 8 gigs of memory or 8 gigs of RAM, that is not the most ideal for using Lightroom, because it does require a lot of memory to do what it does. Another one is how, and this is more that has to do with Adobe's business model now, paying for it every month. For those of you who don't know, which I don't know how you wouldn't have heard of this by now, but you can get both Lightroom and Photoshop as part of the photography package with Adobe, and it is $10 a month. Or at least I'm paying $10 a month. I've heard some stuff through the rumor mills that prices have varied, but from what I've seen, it's still $10 a month. So honestly, it's a great deal. I know there's a lot of people out there that are really tired of the subscription-based model, but you know what? For $10 a month and you get free updates, it's not that bad, honestly. I, for a long time, was thinking about jumping to a different program, but it's just so much a part of my workflow that I just wanted to stick with it. So I don't mind shelling out $10 a month. Honestly, that's not a big deal to me. So anyway, that was just a quick rundown of what Lightroom is. Now let's jump over to the computer and talk about what you see when you first launch the program. Alright, so we've got Lightroom open here on my desktop, and right now this is the screen that you would see if you already had a catalog going and you had photos in it, and this is just the basic window that you see when you open up the program. So if you're a first-time user, you will probably, this is probably not the screen that you're going to be seeing. You know, you'll probably get the first startup screen where it's going to ask you to make a new catalog and get everything set up there. And I will go through how to start a new catalog in this video. So don't worry about if you don't really understand everything you're seeing right now. I'm going to start at the beginning and show you guys what would happen when you start a brand new catalog. So really quickly, before we do that though, I'm just going to give you a quick and dirty rundown of what different tabs you have on the home screen for Lightroom. So right now we are in the Library tab. This is the very first tab that opens up when you open up your Lightroom catalog, and it is where you see basically all of your photos that you have loaded into your catalog. So we're just going to go tab by tab up here. When you fire up Lightroom, all of your different modules and tabs are going to be up here in the upper right hand corner. And these are where you can do different things in Lightroom with your photos. So let's jump over to the tab I think everybody is probably going to be most interested in, and that is the Develop module. And as you can see here, this is a photo of a tiger I shot at the zoo in DC when I was there. This was probably taken a year ago. I think it was during the government shutdown, and the only thing open was the zoo. But anyway, this is the tab where you will develop all of your photos. By develop, I mean all the different tabs you have over here. If you look over on the right hand side, all of the different tabs, this is where you would go and make corrections to your photos. And again, I'm not going to get into, I'm just showing you guys examples right here, just messing with the exposure. I'm not going to get into any development things in this video. We'll do that in another video. I'm just showing you guys some stuff as an example of how the tab work, or how the module works, I should say. So this is where you will spend your time editing your photos and using all the different drop-down menus here to make adjustments. And you know, again, I am just playing with things to show you guys. This is probably the tab where you will spend the majority of your time in Lightroom, as it is where you mess with all your photos. So moving on just down the line here, and guys, don't worry if you're already feeling overwhelmed by all the different modules we've got up here. I will show you guys how you can reduce the number down to the ones that you just want to use when you are using Lightroom. But I figured for this first video I'd show you all of the ones that happens when you start the program up from the get-go. So the next tab here is the Map tab, and honestly, I don't play with this at all. The Map module here is really used for geotagging and metadata, and if you are one of those people, you want to be able to keep track of where your photos were taken with the GPS coordinates and the metadata. That way, this is the tab that you would go to make all that happen. So for example, if you took a photo in New York, for instance, you could geotag where exactly you took that photo. Or for example, if you're in the wilderness in, I don't know, northern British Columbia, and you want to mark exactly where you took a certain photo, you could do that as well. To be perfectly honest, I don't use this. I have a different method of organization for where I take my photos. So I don't play with this tab at all. But, you know, I figured people want to know what all these tabs are, so I'm just going to show them off. So next, we're going to go over to the Book tab. Now, this is kind of a fun little tab, and I haven't ever played with this, but I might start here. This is where you can take all of your photos, and as you can see, I've got a layout of a bunch of photos I took at the zoo a couple years ago. But this is where, if you wanted to maybe create a photo book or some different form of artwork, you would come over here. And this is where you would do all of the page designs and where you would align your photos and which photos you'd want to be in your book and so forth. And, you know, like I said, I really haven't played with this module much. I'm obviously doing this video. I've done my research on it. It's a pretty cool feature that Lightroom has had for quite a while, I think. They work in partnership with Blurb photo books. If you guys don't know who they are, I will add a link to their website on the description. I've got no affiliation with them, and I've never ordered anything from them, but I have checked out their website, and it is pretty cool. You can create, you know, photo books and different ebooks and things of that nature. So I will probably be playing with this in the future. I may do a video on this later on, but as of right now, I don't plan on it, but check back in the future. Maybe I'll do one. All right, next tab is the slideshow tab, and this is where you would create different slideshows with your photos. Say you needed to do something for a meeting, or maybe just something kind of, you know, just making a cool slideshow. Maybe if you're in college and you need to put together a slideshow, this would be a good way to do that. Again, you got all the tabs over here where you can affect what happens with your slideshows. Again, I have not played with this ever, and this is not really a function that I would use. But if you're a college student, or if you need to make a slideshow for a business meeting, this could be a very useful tool for you. All right, next tab, and this is the tab I have used quite a bit lately. This is the print tab. If you wanted to print out your photos to a photo printer that you have, this is where you would do it in Lightroom. I will be doing a separate video on printing from Lightroom, so I'm not going to get into it very much here. But again, this is the tab where you would print those photos from. So pretty cool, and like I said, we'll be doing a separate video on this because there's a lot that goes into printing your photos from Lightroom. And finally on the list here, we have the web tab. This is where you would go and load your photos and make what is called a web photo gallery. And what that would do is it would create a web gallery of all your different photos, and from there it would create, you know, a website of all your photos. Not like a professional website, but more of just like, again, a gallery. And you could direct your coworkers or your clients or whoever to that, and you can create multiple galleries. It's not just one gallery. Again, I don't really know of anybody who uses this feature or function. I'm sure there's probably some videos out there that do this, but again, this is not a function of Lightroom that I would use really. Just because I have my own website and I load all my videos and photos to my website manually, so not a function that I really find useful, so most of the time I hide this. So that is just a brief rundown of all the different tabs here, and like I said, guys, I just wanted to give you all a quick overview of what these tabs are. I don't use all of these tabs. The ones that I don't use, I hide, just because they don't have a purpose in my workflow, so I see no need for them. So I am going to jump back over to the library module here. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to create a brand new Lightroom catalog. To start, you're going to go up to File, and then click on New Catalog. And from here, you're going to navigate and tell Lightroom where you want that new catalog to be stored. So I'm just going to go to my Photos folder, and I have created a new folder. I do this every year. I create a new Lightroom catalog because I just want to keep everything organized. And I will go click on LR 2020, and I have another folder called 2020, and inside of that folder I am going to create my new Lightroom catalog, and I'm just going to call it LR 2020, and that is going to create a new Lightroom catalog. So I'm going to hit create. Once you hit create, Lightroom will close your old catalog and it will launch your brand new one. So as you can see, we are in our new Lightroom 2020 catalog. As you can see, no photos or any presets or anything selected here to start with. So I know that was a really quick rundown, and there were a lot of things in Lightroom that I didn't touch on in this video, but again, the whole point of this first video in this Lightroom series is just to introduce you guys to the program and show all the different things that it has. And again, I know I breezed over a lot of things, and there are some things I'm not going to touch on because I don't use it, and I am just going to touch on the things that I really think most people would probably use this program for. If there is something that you want to use this program for that I don't talk about or that I didn't touch on, you know, there's tons of content out there, and you'll be able to find a video that will probably discuss what you want to use Lightroom for. And again, this was just a very quick introductory episode. So in the next video in this series, I am going to talk about importing photos into Lightroom, how to set up your import settings, how to talk about maybe using presets for import, talk about setting up metadata, all of those different things right there. So stay tuned for that video, guys, and until next time,